Will this video crush my pipe dream of one day writing for SNL and finally meeting John Mulaney? Maybe. Am I willing to take that risk? Maybe. I'm still not quite sure. Conan O'Brien retired from late night television last week after over 25 years on the air. That's a big deal, especially for his loyal fan base that stuck with him after all those years, switching time slots and eventually even moving to a completely different channel. I know he'll continue making stuff on HBO Max, and I'm excited to see what he has up his sleeve in years to come, but considering the fact that an event like this where a beloved public figure is ready to say goodbye, since that happens pretty rarely, I wanted to take the opportunity of hearing this news to make a video that's been on my mind for quite some time now. And yes, the points I'll be making in this video are very similar to the ones that Eddie Burback made in his video on the same topic. Why is Jimmy Fallon's Tonight Show targeted towards kids? That is what we will be discussing today, and right out of the gate, before I start, I think Jimmy Fallon receives more hate than he probably deserves. Yes, he does laugh and interrupt more than he should, but as an on-screen personality, I still honestly believe he's a likable guy, and you can tell he's excited to run the show every single night. While deciphering if a certain joke or a certain sketch is funny or not depends on who you ask, at the end of the day, we really just want to watch someone who is likable. Think about the thousands of lifestyle, daily vlog type channels on YouTube, many of which attract millions more viewers than The Tonight Show's channel. Are they professionally trained stand-up comedians? Have they been honing the craft of sketch comedy or their interviewing skills over the past 20 years? No, they're just people, and they're likable. And sometimes they're hot and not likable, but that's a completely different story. Jimmy Fallon is a flawed performer, as everyone is. We all have our strengths and weaknesses, and nobody can do everything. But actually, that might be the problem, because I find his adaptation of the show to be peculiar, to say the least. Let me explain. The current Tonight Show format highly revolves around games and sillier segments that the guest gets involved in, as well as Jimmy. And I know at some point you've watched at least one, so quit lying to me! And just a simple scroll into the recent videos on the Tonight Show YouTube channel show they seem pretty desperate to attract younger viewers. Hashtags, Sesame Street, I might meet a dog today? What the fuck?
'Cause I might meet a dog today. I might see a dog like, hey.
However, now look at the guests that Jimmy Fallon has had on his show in the last month. Helen Mirren, a now Silver Fox Alec Baldwin, Kristen Bell, Vin Diesel, for Christ's sake. Does Gen Z or Generation Alpha care about any of these people? Do you even know who all those people are? I didn't know who Helen Mirren was. I had to Google her ass when I was writing this. Let's see here. Helen Mirren. Oh, here we go. Okay, she's an actress. All right, now let's see what films she has coming up that she probably promoted while she was on The Tonight Show, right? This has been The Tonight Show's problem for several years now. They've been trying to market their show towards everyone, and it is trending towards reaching no one. But sometimes he does get it right, because young people do enjoy seeing guests like Pete Davidson and John Mulaney. Pretty much any SNL alum makes his show better because of their common experience and chemistry. He has fantastic musical guests on, like Clairo and my low-key man crush Dayglow. He has legendary stand-ups on, like Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle. But filling that 3-month gap between Chappelle and Pete Davidson with Wyatt Cenac will not keep teenagers and early 20-somethings glued to the screen week to week. They've gotten so desperate, in fact, that they started recycling old Pete Davidson content, and it still gets better received by the public. Fallon's ratings on TV are still fine in comparison to other shows in the same time slot. But if his team is pressing this hard to try to reach a young audience, I say we should look at some channel statistics, shall we? Also, Social Blade sucks and is inaccurate, so I instead collected the data myself, with, of course, a spreadsheet. Since Conan is retired now, it's safe to say that the three main faces of modern late-night television are now Jimmy Fallon, Stephen Colbert, who has beat Fallon in TV ratings for the past 5 years now, and Jimmy Kimmel, whose name weirdly sounds like a dog treat brand to me. I don't know why. Maybe it's because Kimmel sounds like the words kibble and kennel fused together. Or maybe it's because I like him the least among this group of white males. Wait, what's that? They're still all white males? Almost every single talk show host is still a white male, feeding into the unfair media representation that reinforces white people in roles of power? Jimmy Fallon's past 10 videos as of June 23rd, 2021 averaged 52.6 thousand views and a like ratio of 97.9%. Colbert, on the other hand, averaged 217.8 thousand views and a like ratio of 98.1%. Still close to Fallon, but more impressive given he kept his ratio steady with more views. Lastly, Kimmel is sort of our wild card here. He averaged the most views with 280.4 thousand, and he had the lowest like ratio of 96.9%, which confirms my suspicion that the rest of America also in fact thinks that guy sucks. What does this information tell us though? Well, although a lot of people think that YouTube content has to be directed towards young people and has to be silly in order to gain any attention, the data proves that claim to be completely false. Listen, I was not around to see Johnny Carson's Tonight Show. I was too young to see Leno's Tonight Show. Conan got gypped and we all know that. But the greater purpose of late night television as a whole, ever since the first airing of The Tonight Show in 1954, has been for the average working parent between like ages 30 to 60 to have something fun to watch before they go to bed. Is this what 30 to 60-year-olds want from you, Jimmy Fallon? Do they want Sesame Street and pet videos? Compare that to the way Colbert and Kimmel run their own respective shows. They stick with a more traditional format, they target that 30 to 60 demographic directly, but they also allow younger audiences to still enjoy it without cramming Gen Z humor down their throat. And while I don't have the exact demographic data, the numbers show viewers did eventually notice that Colbert and Kimmel are a better fit for their needs. So is The Tonight Show dead in the ground as we know it? No, of course not. It's still going to be around for a long time, or at least as long as NBC can stay financially afloat. I know I just gave you a bunch of stats and analysis and boring educational shit, so thank you for sitting through that. I had to do like math and like research stuff, so if any of that was the slightest bit entertaining or interesting, you the viewer can prove my efforts to not be in vain with a quick and simple tap of the like button. Okay, now this next segment is more my opinion piece. This is how I personally view the show and what direction I think the show should take in years to come.
It's time to take Seth Meyers off the bench, NBC. He's been your sixth man ever since 2014. Let my man be the starting point guard. He is ready!
Okay, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. While I do personally think Seth should be the following act once Fallon leaves The Tonight Show, in the present, it still is, in fact, Jimmy's show. So, what do I think he and his team should do to earn the show's reputation back? Here are the three main things, and I'm gonna address Jimmy Fallon directly when I'm talking about this. Number one, you gotta get better at interviewing people, dude. Like, take some journalism classes or something. A friendly rapport among the host and the guest is necessary, but give them their time to talk. Ask the question, then chill. Also, in terms of the laughter, I think the laughter is fine. A lot of people think your laugh is fake. I personally don't, because given the amount of flack you've gotten for it, you would have definitely shut that shit down by now if it was fake. But for every second you spend laughing at the guest jokes, you're wasting a second that you could spend thinking of your own. Look at how Conan does it. He's straight-faced at the start of most of his segments. He gets a read on the guest's personality, and as the sort of scene of the interview comes to a natural climax, the right punchline will eventually come along, and the tension of the host not laughing for a while is relieved.
Or Cyndi Lauper would make a better CEO for a company that doesn't exist. It's gonna be running stuff. It's unbelievable.
Rising action, climax, Fallon action. Instead of just constant start to finish, laugh, 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 laugh. Constant laughter makes the energy of the interview feel static. And static is annoying. It fucks up my hair on a daily basis. Number two, less games. I do not care about the games. I care about the guests. Wheel of Impressions is fine, especially when you're working with fellow comedians. But no one, I repeat, no one, fucking wants to see you play Pictionary. If you really want to play games, find a way to make the games pull information and emotion out of the guest. Make them talk, because we, the viewers, want to learn about them. You've done this right sometimes, like on the Two Truths, One Lie segment, even though you blatantly ripped that off of YouTubers. Now, I'm not sure what exact games accomplish that task the best. Maybe an origami fortune teller, Family Feud, hell, even Truth or Dare might get you on the right track. I do not have all the answers. If you're gonna play games though, find a way to make it an interview in disguise almost, if that makes any sense. And finally, number 3, do what the current 30 to 60-year-old demographic loved when you were on SNL. You said it yourself, you dedicated your entire adolescent life to getting on that show. You are a born sketch comedian. That's your strong suit, always has been. So continue having SNL alums on your show in creative ways like Seth Meyers does, and please just remember, Gen Z does not consider The Tonight Show a high priority right now. They might in, like 20 or 30 years. But right now, they are not listening, so stop trying to talk to them. You, Jimmy Fallon, are a Gen Xer / millennial, so you should spend your time trying to entertain other Gen Xer / millennials. I really think your show will benefit from it. Hey, I just thought of another joke while I was editing this. John Mulaney, born 1982, you know what that makes him? A John Mulanial. Alright, that's it everybody, I'm deleting my YouTube channel. Alright, I'm done talking to Jimmy. Sorry I had to ignore you guys for a little bit there, but I'm back, and I'm not sure how long Mr. Fallon plans to continue hosting The Tonight Show, but here's my case for why I think Seth Meyers should be his predecessor. Successor, not predecessor. He didn't come before him. Number 1. Both him and America alike are already in touch with his unique comedic voice. Fallon did Weekend Update for 3 seasons on SNL, while Seth did 8, with 5 completely on his own. That many years behind a desk gets you very comfortable telling topical monologue jokes. So much so, his late night monologue follows the same exact format because he knows he does it better that way. He's a man of puns, he's a man of wit, and he understands how to give all sides of the news in a respectful and funny way that lets his brand of charisma shine. Number 2, covering politics in a non-tacky way. For a long time, Donald Trump made any form of late night television unbearable to watch, and it's getting better as the years go by. Jimmy Fallon was criticized for not grilling Donald Trump hard enough during his 2016 election campaign. People say Trump was humanized during that whole fluff the toupee incident, and Fallon continued denying that being his intention, but even if that claim is true, that doesn't stop the fact that The Tonight Show's core audience is the American electorate. Being funny is usually the top priority on most nights, but if the future president of the United States comes on your show, even comedy needs to take a back seat. Dave Letterman said it best, you have an obligation to inform the American people just as much as you have one to make them laugh. And although the tone of Seth's late night fits the 30 to 60 demographic much better, he still utilizes new media to inform the public via his Closer Look segment, one that I personally love even at 19 years old. As someone who hates following the news because it's always a major bummer fest, it becomes much more digestible with a few Wedding Crashers references thrown into the mix. Hey, buddy, this Seth guy really knows how to run a show. I'm starting to think he doesn't have any legs, man. Buddy, I think he's been sitting behind that desk so long, I think we might have to check on him. I'm worried about the guy. No, he still has legs, man. You just can't see them in the frame. Haven't you been on his show before? And finally, number 3, Seth's incorporation of writers and staff onto the show. It has been learned in recent years that not all talk show hosts make the best bosses. Once again, looking at Conan, during the Writers Guild strike in 2007, he paid his production staff out of his own pocket, and he did the same thing after the events of the 2012 Tonight Show debacle. Such an immense loyalty to one's coworkers is also clearly present in Seth's show. Cue card Wally, who has made SNL cue cards for decades now, seems to have taken on a sort of Steve Higgins, Andy Richter type role on the show, but it feels more organic than just having an extra dude sitting on the end of the couch adding one-liners. And that's no offense to Steve and Andy, they are both brilliant, I love them. He also gives his writers frequent opportunities to be in the spotlight, somehow being able to turn inside jokes in the workplace into beautiful running gags and references for the entire audience to enjoy. Peeling back the curtain and being self-aware about your show, I'd argue, almost has more of a Gen Z sentiment than what Fallon does. Modern comedy fully realizes the absurdity of the comedy, and that realization enhances the joke. When the little details behind the scenes of late night are brought to center stage, it tells the audience, hey, this is a talk show, but we're not taking ourselves too seriously. Some of the most beloved, groundbreaking modern comedies, like The Eric Andre Show, The Office, even adult animations like Rick and Morty and Big Mouth, they take the traditional format of a certain show archetype and they flip it on its head, but in a way that doesn't feel like pandering. In order for NBC and all the major networks to continue evolving with the new media, they must first stop the pandering. All right, that is my spiel. I know I just nerded the fuck out over a topic that's probably way more niche than my current audience would enjoy, but I had a fun time filming it, and I hope you had a fun time watching it. If you enjoyed watching me talk about this, the best way you can support my channel is to share this video with a friend you think might enjoy it as well. Also, according to my YouTube stats, about 19 out of every 20 people that watch my videos are not subscribed. So, if you're one of those people, if this is like the third or fourth video of mine that you've seen, please click that subscribe button because it does help me out immensely. Alrighty, thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end. I love you guys, and I will see you sometime in the near future. See you then.